Hi, my name is Carlos Crespo. I am the Global Director of Industry at Aile Group. At Aile Group, in our industrial water practice, we are driving innovation in water and environmental sectors, and we are really proud to lead our efforts in supporting with world-class water and water management consulting and treatment solutions to industrial companies to improve their sustainability goals, reduce the environmental water footprint, and reduce also the environmental impact in many sectors like textile, energy, oil and gas, food and beverage, semiconductors, etc. Now let me share a personal connection that fuels my passion for helping industrial water companies in reducing water footprint and environmental impact. Growing up, I was always fascinated with the water ecosystems and also how water is really important in our human lives, not only for our sustainability of life, but also for economic growth and for shaping our future. As a chemical engineer and fresh out from the university, I'm really curious of how the intrinsic of different industrial process is used water. The water can be used as a carrier of energy, as a solvent, as an ingredient, as many things. But also, however, I see the detrimental part of water, that is the contamination of this water and how the water needs to be treated in order to improve the wastewater impact in the sewage or in the ecosystems. No? So, and also how the lack of attention the managers and the corporate level has and site level about water scarcity and how this impact in the business continuity and how water is unique, local, and must be taken in consideration. This experience impact to me, and I am really curious to find solutions and new technologies that improve not only water challenge, but also improve the sustainability of the companies and the water security in their operations and business continuity, and also the water resilience in the catchment. Because industrial companies form part of the catchment and needs to be taken as a stakeholder, as communities and other industries in the catchment, and needs to have a shared role in these resources. Today, as part of Aile Group, we are really privileged to collaborate with many teams and many people outside the company and inside the company, and with our deep water understanding, and also about our capabilities in discovering new technologies, or whether it's discovering new technologies or designing new corporate water strategies, or implementing new technologies and technical solutions to solve important problems. Our goal is always the same: deliver results that matters and improve the water security and water resilience of our customers. My profound water industry knowledge, my deep international experience, my passion for advisory, and my curious mindset has always allowed me to help industrial water companies and to support them to tackle with the most important challenge. The one that I am really very proud is that the project we deliver for European semiconductors manufacturing by designing the second world biggest wastewater reclamation plant to feed ultrapure water lines. That is not a minor challenge. To feed ultrapure water lines, you need to eliminate some contaminants that are really tackled to eliminate, because there are micropollutants like EPA, isopropyl alcohol, or TPH, that must be reduced and eliminated, because if not, it can affect the ultrapure water performance. And we are honored to design the second conceptual treatment train with the effort of our team. And now this project is awarded to an EPC and will be commissioned during the next year. About the industrial water market, the top three more critical focus areas in the next decade could be the water regulations compliance, water scarcity, and the age of the installations and personnel. For the first topic, compliance, European Commission and EPI in US will be deliver new directives, new frameworks, new regulations to deal with new emerging contaminants that affect the human life, like, for example, PFAS, microplastics, endocrine disruptors, etc. And second, deliver new regulations for wastewater reuse due to the climate change impact in the water. That forced the companies to understand first the new regulations, understand new technologies to treat with these emerging contaminants, and also design strategic water management solutions in order to deal with reuse the quantity of water that is forced by legislation, and also don't surpass the limits contaminations because the new regulations. So that is a big challenge, to reduce water and don't surpass the environmental regulations new limits, and that creates a perfect scenario for emerging and innovative technologies. The second top critical aspect is about water scarcity. The last year, 2023, was the warmest year ever record, and that creates that the increase of world temperature after post-industrial area is 148 degrees, and is close to 1.5 that the increase agreed in the Paris Agreement. So that forced the companies to improve their water security and improve the water resilience in the catchment, not only by improving water efficiency, but dedicate also efforts beyond the fence lines in water conservative programs in their water stewardship strategies about replenishment, aquifer recharge, regenerative agriculture, wash, etc., in order to improve the water resilience of the ecosystems. The third part is aged installations and personnel. According to the last statistics, the average age of the water and wastewater system in US and Europe is 40 years old, and the 50% of the total workforce that manage these systems surpass 50 years old, with no, in principle, intention of the young people and graduates to move in that space. So digitalization of water systems becomes more and more important, okay? Because it needs to deal with these two factors, aged installation and aged personnel, and solve this problem with water quality monitoring, water quality systems, new digital technologies like digital twins, artificial intelligence, etc., in order to deal with this lack of talent and this lack of investment. At the end, to focus at the end, every day I am inspired with our global team in order to improve the society, environment, and economies through water. And we think the water is an essential part of human life. And what we deserve is that water is universal and is for everyone. So that our service, our consultings are designed to support our consulting companies to drive with this new, we like to say that with the new carbon in the next decade will be water, because water is unique, and then that is what we understand. Thank you for joining us today. We are really here in many places, in LinkedIn, in Twitter, in many places. So hope we can connect you in the future in order to solve your reputational problems, your water security problems, resilience, etc., and make a better world through water.